Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Monday's Look North. Our top story tonight. Driven into debt, the Yorkshire-based charity Family Fund reveals the cost of caring for those with disabilities.
We're having to budget £800 a month for food. I mean, that's not just food, it's also nappies, you know, and the other things that you need. But we want to get him to be able to eat.
We'll hear more about the day-to-day struggles for families. Also tonight, an inquest opens in Sheffield into the death of a woman who was run over by the foster child she was caring for. A year on from the death of rugby league legend Rob Burough, we look at how he inspired lasting change. And a flurry of new arrivals at Cannon Hall Farm in Barnsley, including 2 sets of twin calves.
And it's been a fairly decent start to the week. This was a view near Denby Dale, a lot of fair weather cloud there, but the rest of the week does look quite unsettled. Join me for that detailed forecast.
Hello there, I hope you had a lovely weekend. First tonight on the programme, we're going to look at a new report released today by the York-based charity Family Fund. It shows that families raising disabled or seriously ill children and young people across the UK are being driven further into debt. The Cost of Caring report surveyed more than 2,000 families on low incomes, raising sick or disabled children, and found many struggle to afford the essentials like food or heating, let alone additional costs like specialist equipment and travel to medical appointments. Over half of the parents and carers continue to report skipping or cutting the size of their meals to feed their kids. And a third say they can't afford to keep their homes warm. We've been filming with Amanda from North Yorkshire, whose son William has epilepsy, as well as many other complex needs. She's been telling us the difficulties that her family face.
Yes, please.
We haven't played with this in a while.
I love playing this one.
I love playing this one.
What's
Amanda
this?
is her son's full-time carer. She lives in Skipton with 7-year-old William, who has epileptic encephalopathy. He has frequent fits. He also has autism and is awaiting a diagnosis for ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. His epilepsy also puts him at high risk of sudden unexpected death, where some children pass away in their sleep. All these complex needs means Amanda can't go to work, and financially the family are struggling on one income.
We're having to budget £800 a month for food. I mean, that's not just food, it's also nappies, you know, and the other things that you need. Extra bills with water, heating, shopping, and then just trying to get out and enjoy yourselves as a family. There's always that extra expense there because there's those extra challenges.
William has to be fed through a tube, and his conditions mean it's often difficult to socialise, which can be very isolating for the family.
He is obviously always 100% my priority, but it's draining and exhausting and very isolating. I would cry every day. It's not good for you to not be part of society.
Make a cake.
The York-based charity Family Fund supports families on low incomes, raising disabled or seriously ill children and young people. The charity estimates it costs a family an extra £1,000 a month to care for a disabled child. And they're hoping their recent report will influence the government's child poverty strategy due out in the autumn.
The part of the reason we're launching this now is so we can start to have those, to be part of those conversations. And as an organisation, we are already part of those conversations. But we want to make sure that policymakers and that people in government understand that having a child with a disability means that your essential expenses are always going to be higher. And there's nothing that you can do to cut back. Your child needs what your child needs.
William's complex conditions are life-limiting, and he's not expected to reach adulthood. A very difficult situation for the family to come to terms with.
It's hard sometimes, because you never know what could happen, but you just get used to it, really.
We'll sort of wake up and go, William's not awake, he's not making any noises, and you just get this feeling of, is today the day? When I was by myself before I met my partner, I'd be frozen in bed because I'd be thinking, I want to check on him, but I don't dare go down.
Where is Madam?
With the support from charities like the Family Fund in York, Amanda makes the most of every day they have left together. Michelle Lyons, BBC Look North.
Just an insight there of how difficult it is for families caring for children who have disabilities. Earlier I spoke with Labour MP for York Central, Rachel Maskell, about what the government is doing to help people like Amanda and William.
We need to not only look at financial support, and that's absolutely crucial, that there is sufficiency in the family income to be able to support parents, but also many of these parents can't work because they're full-time carers and yet simply are not given enough money to live off. So of course investment in carers is absolutely crucial.
There's a government review of disability allowance that's coming in the autumn. Do you see that impacting families that we're hearing from?
Well, if these proposals go ahead, particularly those families where there's an intersection between disabled adults and disabled children, of course it was really, really troubling. So I do ask government to think again and really press ahead with a government strategy around child poverty. 4.5 million children today living in our country in poverty, and many of those children in disabled families with a child with a disability, because there is insufficiency in support. They have higher costs because of things like medication, keeping warm, and also things like transport. So of course we need to ensure that those families have more than enough to live off.
Rachel Maskell, your government is now in power. What will you be proposing? How will you be using your voice to try and make things easier for families who are caring for children with disabilities?
Well, I've been pretty consistent at raising my concern around families in poverty, and of course we know that the intersections between a family where a child has an impairment, whether that's a physical or emotional or mental incapacity in some kind, then of course we need government to provide sufficiency to support those families, because when there is insufficiency of money, the report by the Family Fund shows that there's even more stress placed on that family, and that is just not right. So we need government to put a comprehensive strategy together which accommodates not only children in poverty but also ensures that disabled children have the support around them to be able to move out of poverty and to have the same opportunities as all other children.
Rachel Maskell, thank you. OK, let's move on now. The inquest into the death of Marcia Grant has started today. This 60-year-old was killed in Sheffield 2 years ago when a car was driven over her by a child she was fostering. A social worker has given evidence to say he thought the child shouldn't have been placed with the Grant family because of the impacts on another child that they were looking after. Tom Ingle has been at the coroner's court this morning.
Marcia Grant's family still have questions they want answered. But to begin today's inquest into her death, they remembered her as a woman with an unshakable moral compass, a devoted foster carer who provided a safe haven for children in need. Marcia Grant and her husband were very experienced foster carers. They already had a young child in their care when they answered a phone call from Rotherham Council looking for an emergency place for a 12-year-old boy to stay. That was at the end of March 2023. A few days later, on the 5th of April, she was dead, knocked to the ground by her own car at her own home in Sheffield. It was driven by that same child. Within those few days, she had expressed concerns over his behaviour. The first witness today was a social worker for Rotherham Council who supported the Grants. He said he didn't think placing the child with them was a good idea because it would impact on the child they were already caring for. However, the placement was ultimately approved, albeit for just a few days, to be constantly reviewed. A manager has told the court today that decision was finely balanced and focused on the child's interests. Other evidence heard today suggests that key handover documents were not completed in full. The coroner has already said the inquest will focus on the decision to place the child with the family, the support the family received, and of course the terrible events of April the 5th when Marcia Grant lost her life. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
You're watching Monday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme.
And I'm hanging out at Leeds Gymnastics Club, where 3 athletes have just been crowned Team GB gold medalists. Join me later in the programme.
Now, can you believe it? It's 1 year on since the death of rugby league legend Rob Burough, whose courage in the face of motor neuron disease captured hearts across the country and inspired lasting change. Before MND changed his life, Rob was a powerhouse at Leeds Rhinos, winning 8 Super League titles, representing his country and proving that determination could beat the odds. But it was after his diagnosis that he became something even greater, a symbol of courage, dignity and relentless hope. It's hard to believe that this was a year ago. Flowers and tributes just kept coming, a sea of colour outside the Headingley Stadium where Rob made his name. His wife Lindsay and their children also visited. Known for his speed on the pitch as a Leeds Rhinos legend, Rob's campaigning for the MND community following his diagnosis with motor neuron disease travelled beyond sport. Rob's wish was for a specialist centre to be built for people with MND. Just a day after his passing, spades were in the ground, the start of that dream becoming a reality. Since then, Rob's legacy has continued to grow and so has work on the centre. The £6.8 million target needed to finish the build was reached and it's due to open in the autumn.
Huge honour to be here at this centre and a huge deal to Rob. For all MND patients and the families to come to a purpose-built centre, so to be here today, to see the work going on and to be kind of part of this is something that's really special to the family.
Without all the fundraising and everything, this would have never happened, so it's great to see what my dad's fundraising and Kev's have done and what they've led to.
And how proud are you of your dad?
I'm really proud.
And today is about running for our little mate, Rob Burough. And they are away!
The first Rob Burough Leeds Marathon since his passing saw 10,000 runners take part, including wife Lindsay, running it just 2 weeks after the London Marathon.
I set myself a challenge, but I was determined to cross that finish line and to make Rob proud. And I hope he's watching down with a big smile on his face.
We still don't have a cure for MND. There are over 5,000 people in the UK that are living with MND, and the reality is that a third of those will die within a year of diagnosis. We still don't have that cure. There's still no breakthrough treatment, so we need to keep banging that drum and keep raising that awareness.
Rob was a giant on the field, but it was...
On Saturday, Rob's club, Leeds Rhinos, hosted Wakefield Trinity, where more money and awareness were raised with a shirt in honour of Rob.
This shirt just epitomises the career he's had. It's one of the nicest shirts we've ever seen. We have good and bad days, more bad than good at the moment, but Rob would want us to keep smiling and to keep banging the drum for MND patients.
One day it's hoped a cure can be found for MND, the ultimate legacy for a man who dared to dream in the face of adversity. Really is incredible, isn't it, what he achieved and continues to achieve as well, remembering Rob Burough 1 year on from his death. OK, let's take a look at some other stories now coming into the newsroom. Plans for a multi-million-pound flood defence scheme in Calderdale have been approved at a meeting today. The 2-year flood risk management programme will cost £2 million and should help strengthen defences in the areas most at risk. Thousands of properties in Calderdale have been flooded over the last 10 years. A £110,000 refurbishment starts today at a leisure centre in Sheffield. Healy Gym will be closed all this week while its gym floor gets an upgrade and new kit. The pool and exercise classes will stay open though during the refit. The Leadmill Music Venue in Sheffield has announced its final event will be on the 28th of June. Last month, you might remember, the tenants lost a long-running legal battle against the landlord and they were told to leave the building within 3 months. Well, in a statement on social media, they say they'll continue to hold events at different venues across Sheffield. On to sport now, and 3 Team GB members from Leeds Gymnastics have become European champions. Hooray! Harry Hepworth, Luke Whitehouse and Jonas Rushworth are all part of the men's artistic gymnastics team, and they won in their last event last Tuesday. Today they're celebrating victory and Olivia Richwald is there for us. What a brilliant result, Olivia. I knew they'd do it.
Absolutely brilliant result, and isn't it a brilliant place here? We'll talk to the gold medalists. They're here, just over here. We've got Luke, we've got Harry and we've got Jonas, and they won the team gold at the European Championships, and they arrived back here in Seacroft to a hero's welcome. All the youngsters here and their parents lined up, they were clapped in, and they showed off their medals and had their pictures taken. Luke, you've got 2 medals around your neck. You had team success and individual success. You've been training here since you were 12. What does it mean to win these medals?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely incredible. Also alongside these guys from the same club as well. So yeah, I couldn't be prouder. And then going 3-time back-to-back champion on the floor was just incredible.
Yeah, and this is the 3rd time in a row that you've won it. It's a pretty incredible achievement. I mean, you've got the Olympics in mind?
Yeah, obviously I want to get the world title and the Olympic title as well. So to add to what I've already done.
Brilliant. Well, let's speak to Harry now, because you've also got 2 medals. How does it feel to have those around your neck?
Oh, it's a privilege to compete alongside Luke and Jonas. Same club, it's amazing. We've all seen what each other's put in behind the scenes, and to go out there and smash it, amazing.
And you were pipped only just by your friend and maybe your rival, Luke. You've known each other a very long time. What's it like when you're both competing? Does your friendship go out of the window, or are you pleased for each other?
Obviously pleased for each other, because we see how much each other puts in training, but I'm just really proud of him. You know, 3 times in a row, no one's ever done it. He's made history. Fair play.
Brilliant. Well, let's speak now to Jonas, because this was your first senior competition in Leipzig in Germany. I mean, were you nervous? How did it feel?
I was very happy how I handled myself out there as a first time in the senior competition. I wanted to put myself out there, and I think I did that with the gold. And performing under pressure, showing some beautiful gymnastics. It was a great experience, and I loved it.
And you've been training here a long time. Have you got any sort of advice to some of these youngsters here tonight?
Love the sport. It's a very tough sport. You have to love it, so enjoy each day. And it takes a lot of discipline, and once you learn to be disciplined and do the extra numbers, it'll all come and you'll enjoy it even more.
Are you looking ahead to the Olympics as well, Jonas?
Yeah, LA is a huge goal for me, and I get the rest of us here, and we'll just push ourselves, and yeah, I'll get there and I'll take it by storm when it comes.
Brilliant. Well, there's no rest for the truly talented, I'm afraid. They've all been training again today, and they're competing this weekend. Back to you.
Well done, fellas. It looks great fun jumping into that foam in the background, doesn't it? Wonder if Olivia's going to have a little go while she's there. Let's move on to cycling now. Yorkshire's former world champion cyclist Lizzie Deignan has told BBC Look North today that she will feel very emotional when she starts the 2025 Women's Tour of Britain right here in Yorkshire later this week. The 4-day race will roll out of Dalby Forest near Pickering to launch Thursday's Stage 1. 36-year-old Deignan will be the team leader of Little Trek in what will be her final year as a racing cyclist. Her personal aim for this race on the home roads is very clear.
Enjoy it. You know, I've won this race on a few occasions. I'm realistic about my own expectations. I don't think an overall win is possible, but who knows? Cycling is a brilliant sport because anything can happen. It's not always the strongest who wins. So if there's a glimmer of hope, then I will absolutely grab onto it with both hands.
But yes, indeed, enjoy it, Lizzie. Now the Wills Women's Rugby League trophy has been in York today. The city's community stadium is to host 6 games in the upcoming tournament this summer. Ticket sales have already surpassed double the number of 2021 in New Zealand. Gladiator and ex-England player Jodie Onsley from Dewsbury was there to celebrate York's prestigious role.
Especially with the women's game, it's growing, and over the years it's been amazing, but obviously you don't see it as much in places like York and Yorkshire. So for young girls, even today, going for a little shop with the parents and just seeing the cup, could spark something of even wanting to watch a game, or even as far as thinking, you know what, I want to give that sport a try. So I think we can't underestimate how powerful it can be.
Thank you for the reminder, Jodie. I'm going to book some tickets to take my daughter to go see that. And talking of family days out, we were also here this week, Cannon Hall Farm, and it's been a baby boom at the Barnsley farm with a flurry of new arrivals. We saw some really cute little foals, but they've had not one, but 2 sets of twin calves as well. Staff say it is a rare surprise for this time of year, and now they're on the lookout for names. Mark Hansel has been to meet them.
New life at Cannon Hall Farm in Barnsley. They've never had so many animals born at the same time. 6 within a week.
So you've got Shirley, who's our own cow just here, and then just behind me you've got Pepper, who's the white lady just there, and then we've got 4 little girls. So really exciting. We've had 2 sets of twins born really close to each other. They nearly shared a birthday. The official statement is there must be something in the water. No, obviously spring is the time for new life and everything like that, so I think it's all just fallen on the same week. It's just blessed us, really.
The bumper week of new arrivals last week included a Highland calf to stable favourite Hetty and a miniature horse to proud mum Pearl.
Pearl's wee foal is out of a world champion stallion. They definitely have the cute factor when they're that size. If they would stay that size, it would be even better, wouldn't it? We breed a lot of animals all year round. This is the first miniature American foal we've had born. It's just lovely to see them all fit and healthy and doing well.
Visitors old and young alike were really taken by the newcomers.
It's nice to see all of the animals, especially the little baby ones.
Yeah, it's a baby.
Oh, it's fantastic. Lovely weather today. Yeah. The little horse, yeah. We love the little horse, don't we? Yes.
Oh, they're absolutely adorable. I wish I could take them all home with me.
All the babies, including the American miniature horse here and the Highland calf over here, need new names. So if you have any suggestions, do send them in. Mark Ansell, BBC Look North, Cannon Hall Farm in Barnsley.
Can you believe it? Just like that, spring is over. And what an amazing spring it's been. It is, of course, Monday, so this gives Paul a chance to talk about rain. We have had a little bit, haven't we?
We have had a little bit, but just worth pointing out about how good spring's been. Leaming, the warmest and sunniest spring on record, but because of the recent rain, only the 4th driest spring on record. Sheffield Weston Park, the joint 5th longest drought on record. They had 31 days without a drop of rain. So how's that impacting reservoirs? If you have a look, we are still way below where we should be. We should be around about 89%. These are late May figures a few days ago, but we're currently 63%. So I did ask Yorkshire Water actually if the recent rainfall had had any impact on those reservoir levels.
It has rained, yes, but that hasn't had the positive impact we would like to have seen in our reservoirs and rivers, so please just continue to use water wisely. Well, we've got a few simple tips, lots of information on our website, lots of information on our media channels, but just little things like ensuring that people's washing machines are full before putting it on. If you've got an eco setting, use that. We'd also really urge customers to use a watering can rather than a hose pipe if they do want to water their flowers and water the plants. And also, if you've got a water butt, make sure it's ready just for when we do get a bit more rainfall later on in the year, we can catch as much as possible.
So let me show you what's happening with our reservoir levels. Now, this is a really important graph. Up this side, how full reservoirs are, up to 100%, and the months of the year. And as you might imagine, in winter, reservoirs get full up and then they fall as we head through summer. But this line is really important. It's called the drought control line. If reservoir levels cross this line, Yorkshire Water have to impose restrictions on water use. Let me show you a couple of examples. This is the famous summer of '95 when Yorkshire Water in the end had to tanker water in from Kielder Reservoir. You can see the yellow line crossing through there, and it really was a serious situation back then. 3 years ago was the last time we had a hosepipe ban. That's the red line. They imposed a hosepipe ban the end of August, and actually reservoir levels did stabilise and pick back up. So where are we now? That's the black line. We are currently at the worst position on record for late May, early June. And this suggests, if it continues on this trajectory, Yorkshire Water will have to impose a hosepipe ban as early as late June into early July. So it's going to be a really interesting few weeks and entirely dependent on whether we get heavy rain in the next few weeks. Anyway, enough of all that. Let's have a look at your pictures from the weekend. And the first one is absolutely fantastic. Now, bearing in mind this is only a few miles from the middle of Sheffield city centre. Look at the deer there. That would have been wonderful to come across them, roaming the moors to the west of Sheffield. And don't forget, yesterday was the first day of meteorological summer, and I thought that was a beautiful sunrise. Somebody was up very early because the sun rises at about 4:45, but it really was a splendid start to the season. And before you all get wound up, I know that the proper definition of summer is not until the 21st of June. But if you've got any pictures, addresses are on your screen right now, and a lot of your work is actually on the Weather Watcher website. There's some great stuff from over the weekend. Right, let's have a look at the headline for the next 24 hours, and it does look unsettled. There is some rain on the way later tonight into tomorrow morning, but then it will turn brighter. The afternoon looks pretty good with some sunshine and 1 or 2 showers. So that rain is courtesy of this weather front. Behind it, a little ridge of high pressure means that Wednesday is not looking too bad. Some sunshine and then 1 or 2 showers. And then the next system, if this continues to develop as we think it will do after a fine start on Thursday, this will bring some showers or longer outbreaks of rain up from the southwest. So yes, there is some rain in the forecast, but will it be enough? Well, only time will tell. Let's have a look at the radar picture then. We've picked up a few showers towards the coast first thing this morning. Then it's been a lovely day. This is the rain that's just currently coming into the west of Ireland, and that will come across us later tonight and into the first part of tomorrow morning. But, I mean, it has been lovely out there this afternoon, and it really is a beautiful evening, all parts dry, plenty of sunshine, but we've got that active weather front that will bring rain sweeping in from the west later tonight. I think eastern areas not seeing too much rain. These greens indicate potentially 1 or 2 heavier bursts for those important catchments across the Pennines, and we'll see temperatures down to 8 or 9 degrees. Tomorrow's high water times, then there we are, Scarborough 10:38, Bridlington at 10:59. So a disappointing start in the morning with outbreaks of rain, but it really quickly clears away eastwards. By 9-10 o'clock, it's clear of all parts with some sunshine, followed by, as you can see, 1 or 2 showers, mainly in the west, but there will be plenty of sunshine, and the best of the conditions will be tomorrow afternoon towards the coast. Top temperatures then coming in at around about 17, a little on the fresh side, slightly below average for early June. OK, the further outlook, Wednesday's not looking too bad. There'll be some sunshine, also 1 or 2 showers. Thursday, an unsettled day, a fine start, showers or longer outbreaks of rain later. It's cool and showery on Friday and Saturday. Sunday at the moment looks dry with some sunshine. And that, Amy, is the forecast.
Have you finished? We've had about 6 minutes of weather there.
We should do 16 minutes tomorrow.
This is his plan, isn't it? Very slowly taking over the Paul Hudson Show. Watch out, world. That is it from us. Phil Bobber with your late news. Bye-bye for now.